A colonel walked into the Joint Operations Center with loud footsteps that echoed across the polished floor as he scanned the room with a smirk as if the entire base existed only to entertain him. He carried himself like a man who believed he owned every corridor and every soldier within it, even though most personnel avoided him because of his habit of mocking anyone he considered beneath him. That morning he was in an especially arrogant mood because the general he reported to was away on overseas assignment, and the colonel felt freer than ever to throw around his attitude. In the corner of the room a young woman in standard uniform was quietly reviewing encrypted files on a tablet, barely noticeable at first glance. She wore no flashy decorations, no visible unit patches, and no obvious indicators of her true position. To the colonel she looked like a simple analyst, and that was enough for him to decide she was an easy target. He approached her with a loud laugh, asking why someone so inexperienced was handling classified intel. She glanced up calmly, offering no reaction to his mockery, which annoyed him even more. He leaned over her desk, making jokes about how the military had lowered its standards and allowed anyone to access high-level files. She remained silent, her posture straight and her eyes fixed on the data she was analyzing. The colonel raised his voice, mocking her training, guessing she had never stepped outside an office, and questioning her physical capability to even complete basic drills. A few junior officers nearby exchanged nervous looks but dared not intervene because the colonel had a reputation for ruining careers. She finally closed her tablet and looked at him with a controlled expression that showed neither anger nor fear. Her calmness made him louder. He called her weak, unqualified, and out of place. He asked where her commanding officer was, suggesting she must have slept her way into the position. The room went silent at that insult. The woman slowly stood up, her eyes steady and her voice composed, telling him that the information she was reviewing was connected to an ongoing special operations directive and he was interfering with protocol. The colonel laughed even louder, asking what she knew about special operations, saying he had more experience in his boots than she had in her entire life. Before she could respond, the secure door opened and several high-ranking intelligence officers walked in. They immediately acknowledged her with formal respect, calling her by a code title unknown to the colonel. He frowned, confused. She walked toward them, speaking confidently about the mission updates. The colonel stepped forward to interrupt, demanding to know who she thought she was. One of the officers turned to him and said he was standing in the presence of the highest-ranking clandestine commander in the region, a woman who had led more black-budget operations than he could imagine. The colonel froze as the officer revealed that she outranked him by multiple levels, and that her real rank was classified but superseded his by a mile. The woman turned back to face the colonel and told him that his behavior violated military conduct, abuse of authority, and interference with restricted operations. She explained that she had tolerated his insults because she wanted to observe how he behaved under pressure and how he treated those he believed were beneath him. His arrogance had failed the test entirely. She informed him that effective immediately his security clearance was suspended pending investigation, and he was relieved of duty until further notice. The colonel tried to argue, shouting that he deserved respect, but his voice cracked as he realized the entire room was watching. She stepped close and told him that respect is earned through discipline, integrity, and humility, not forced through intimidation. Security personnel arrived to escort him out. As they led him away, he looked back at the woman he had mocked, only now realizing she was the most powerful officer in the building. The room exhaled in relief once he was gone. She returned to her desk, reopened her tablet, and continued working as if nothing had happened. But the atmosphere had shifted completely. Personnel who once felt intimidated now felt inspired. She addressed the room, saying that leadership meant protecting the mission and the people, not feeding an ego. She reminded them that every soldier, analyst, and technician played a vital role in national security. A junior officer approached her and quietly thanked her for standing up to him. She replied that standing up was never about pride, it was about protecting the chain of command from those who abused it. She then briefed the team on the mission ahead, revealing intel on a rising threat that required silent, strategic action. She assigned tasks with precision, showing expertise and authority that left no doubt about her capabilities. Her presence commanded respect without demanding it. Later that evening she met with a covert operations unit preparing for deployment. They exchanged coded phrases and mission details about an infiltration plan to prevent a hostile network from acquiring advanced weapon systems. She led the briefing personally, walking the team through satellite imagery, escape routes, and contingency layers designed for every possible risk. The team looked at her not just as a leader but as someone who had walked through fire many times and returned stronger each time. As the operation window approached, she oversaw final preparations, approved aerial surveillance, and coordinated with allied units. The colonel, now suspended, watched from a distance as his authority dissolved. Meanwhile, the woman he mocked demonstrated flawless command. The mission unfolded with precision. Her strategies prevented a major international crisis and secured vital intelligence that reshaped the global landscape. Senior command praised her performance, acknowledging her as one of the most decisive leaders in special operations. When the colonel's investigation concluded, evidence of misconduct accumulated. His career reached a standstill. The woman he mocked continued rising silently through classified ranks, her achievements largely hidden from public eyes but deeply respected within the highest levels of national security. Her story became an unspoken lesson across the base, reminding everyone that true strength is quiet, professionalism is power, and arrogance can blind even the most experienced officers. The woman's legacy grew within the intelligence community. Her leadership style became a model for training programs, emphasizing humility, discipline, and respect. She broke stereotypes not by demanding recognition but by proving her worth through action. The personnel she mentored carried her lessons across future missions, creating a generation of leaders who valued integrity over ego. The colonel's downfall served as a reminder that mocking others could expose one's own weakness. In contrast, her rise showed that greatness often comes disguised in simplicity and silence. She continued to operate at the highest levels, shaping strategies that protected millions, her influence felt in places the public would never know. Her story ended not with noise but with legacy. The woman who looked like an ordinary analyst was in fact a powerful commander whose quiet strength altered the course of history and set a standard of leadership for generations to come.